Good morning to all of you, and I want to thank all of you for coming today. I'm State Senator Lou Correa, and on behalf of myself, other legislators, including our pro tem Senator Darrell Steinberg, which is a principal co-author of this legislation, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Today, this piece of legislation, Senate Bill 231, that we're pushing today, and we're hoping the legislature will pass, it's about something that I think is very near to all of us in our hearts. We're talking about bullying in schools. Here we have our children, and I say our children because they all belong to us. They're all part of our society. Possible victims of bullying. But I'm sure if I asked each and every one of you what your personal experiences were growing up, you can all think about that moment that you were humiliated in school, that moment that you were embarrassed, made fun of. I can think back to my personal times, and I remember one very good friend of mine another young man who used to be the bully at school, turned around and grabbed the banana and smashed it into his face. And in those days, the only thing a principal or teacher would do would be just clean his face and let him move on. And I also remember so many bullies in my school. A lot of the kids went off and joined their own little gangs to protect themselves. And when you see these personal stories unfold before us, you begin to see that bullying is just not that isolated incident. It's not that joke. It's not that group of kids laughing at another child, but rather it's a scar that individual bears for the rest of their life. And heaven forbid, last year we had 6 known suicides. 6 individuals took their lives directly because of bullying. This has got to stop. We in society have to send a clear message that we cannot tolerate bullying in our schools. The one place in society, the one place that we send our children because we assume that it's a safe place for them to be at the care of those that we entrust, the teachers, the principal, turns out to be the one place where our children are scarred for life. Can't do it. We have to stop it. We're under hard economic times. Last year I carried a bill to stop bullying. We had a solution, but because of budgetary reasons, wasn't the fit. Today we're back with what I consider a very simple but very common sense solution. What do kids do when they get bullied? The code is silence. You don't tell anybody. What do the other kids do when they witness an incident? Again, the code is silence. Culture teaches us you bring it in, you hack it, you tough it out because you're tough. It's not the way to handle bullying. What my bill does, sets up a 1-800 hotline where the victim or other witnesses can call in and report that bullying incident. That hotline we envision will be supported and manned by psychologists, by individuals who know how to handle that crisis that individual, that child is under when they get that phone call. So again, I'm hoping all of you can join us and support us in moving forward. And when I say moving forward, because this piece of legislation is just one step of many moving in that direction of addressing bullying. And today we're talking not just about gifted children, not about special needs children, but we're talking about all children. That young man that I told you about, who was my friend in elementary school, who had a banana smashed in his face, and it was the wildest, the funniest thing that month in school, he was just an average young man. What about our other kids in school? The autistic kids, the Asperger kids. I had one mother come to me once and said, "Help me. My daughter keeps getting picked on. She's Asperger's, and she doesn't quite comb her hair every day. She doesn't wear her clothes quite well, but she's a sweet girl, and she keeps getting picked on." And I said, "Well, who is a person that picks on her. She tells me her younger brother. It starts at home, and we continue it here, and we do not stop here until each and every one of us sends the message to all of us in society that there is zero tolerance when it comes to bullying. If I can, I'd like to have you all join me as I introduce Lisa Fordberry with Bullies Really Are Violating Every One of Us. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Senator Correa because so much of what he speaks about when he talks about the worst case scenario, my family and I have lived it. Our son, Michael, was a victim of a peer abuse-driven bullycide. He shot himself on his 17th birthday at Mariloma High School, September 15th, 2008. SB 231 is an actionable tool that we can give to our kids that if and when they tell someone and no one does anything, they have the power to then do something themselves. If parents feel that they have reported it and again, no one does anything, they have additional empowerment to make a phone call. Too many times I work with teachers who tell me how indifferent administrators are. Teachers can use this. This is a piece of legislation that will work in tandem with every single existing piece of legislation. You can use it with AB 9, Seth's law. You can use it from a cyberbullying standpoint. The kids already are using technology for the worst kinds of behavior. This takes and puts such a positive spin because they can make a phone call, even though most kids these days don't. They can if they want, or they can text, or they can do the instant messaging, or they can do an application. However they choose to communicate that they are in need, they have that ability to do so. And it creates a voice for them that does not require an adult to take action. They can save themselves. I cannot stress enough that silence gives consent to the behavior of abuse. What we are talking about is peer abuse. In every other facet of our society, when someone is abused to the degree that our children are abusing each other, we call it for what it is. We do not soften it by calling it, well, they were bullied. It's character. It makes you stronger. We don't do that. But those are the justifications and excuses we give in our school environment. And it sends such a mixed signal to our kids. We wonder why they don't say anything. Well, we need to look at the apathetic indifference that we give to their suffering. So, SB 231, I love the idea and the reality. They can take action. Their parents can take action. Their teachers can take action. We have lost too many children to bullycide. That is a pain and a discomfort I do not wish on anyone. And at the end of the day, my son said something, and because he did not fit the profile of a child being bullied, being abused, he was a straight A honor roll student, well-liked, articulate, bright, and popular. But he did not say anything to his dad and I. He trusted the educators who were charged with his well-being. Had something of like this been in place, Michael could have kept his independence that was so important to him, and he could have done something on behalf of himself. Thank you.
Lisa, your story reminds me of a personal one. remember a few years back, I have a father of four, one of my boys came home, scrapes in his face and his arms. I said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, I fell in a playground. Don't worry about it, Dad. I fell in a playground." The more I dug in, I found out that he was actually being pushed around and bullied. I confronted the administrators in that school, and what I found was essentially the attitude that you're discussing right now, which was, you got to push, because most of the time, I know we're all very busy, overcrowded schools, and there's a child that maybe you see an incident, well, it'll go away. But we have to get beyond that. It will go away. It'll fix itself attitude and really bring some solutions and just stop bullying, period. I have today Ms. Michelle Molina, Executive Director with Peace Builders, who will address us next. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you. I always have the difficult job of following Lisa in our head and heart of bullying prevention. I represent Peace Builders, more than 1 million kids in our country, many of which are here in our fine state of California, who are doing the right thing when it comes to bullying. They're reaching out to adults in their lives and making those connections, getting answers, and seeking what we call and they call wise people, many of which are sitting right here in this room with us today, parents and supporters of these wonderful kids. And we're back, Lisa and I, bravely supporting Senator Correa once again in hopes that our state legislature will support what we see as a very low-cost, simple set of resources that kids can access, that their parents can access, their loved ones, their wise people, and certainly our school staff all across the country in getting answers, best practices, solutions, and when necessary, crisis help, so that Lisa's family and others like them never go through that again. So we're happy to be here to support, and I'm touched to be around all of these people and for all the great work that you're doing, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.